What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I am back from vacation. Had a really good time. Just kind of, got out of the city, went out to a lake, just enjoyed the scenery for a few days, just got away from the stress of everything. It was a nice time. Hopefully you guys have also had some time off with Christmas and New Year's. Just kind of, gotten away from things. Just had some good times, whether you're with yourself or family. Just take some time for yourself, just enjoy things. But we are back. We're talking about some more Marvel Strike Force content, and today we're going to be covering the best teams to invest in for January of 2022. I did a video in November, and since then we've seen some new teams emerge. We had the Ravagers, and we had Web Warriors. Web Warriors are a very good team to invest in. We will talk about that today, but really we're going to talk about the best teams you need to be investing in for raids, for arena, for war. Really, and again, we're not really going to talk about Dark Dimension, because that's like a case-by-case basis. But if we do talk about the best teams to invest in, some of those characters, or a lot of those characters, are going to be ones to talk about with investing into Dark Dimension 5 as well. So I will be mentioning them as good options for DD5, but we're not really going to focus on that one because, number one, yeah, some people will do it based on gear options. Number two, DD5 is still a long ways away for a lot of people, so not a really important mode to talk about. So if you guys do find this video helpful, you do enjoy it, make sure that like button, share, and subscribe. Let's start by talking about our two newest teams and just go over them in general. We're going to start with the Ravagers, because this is one that's going to be quicker to talk about. Ravagers are a very solid war team. Upper tier. They're not top tier. They're not going to beat Weapon X. Not going to be Heroes for Hire. They can beat Eternals if you bring in Emma. They're very strong in war. And in terms of tech and the raids, this is sketchy. We know at some point we're going to be getting a tech raid team. So I'm not going to recommend you guys take up Stitcher, T'Challa, or Boomer for the tech raid, because we don't know what that tech team is. We don't know what tech raid team is coming. We don't know what it's going to be. It would be awesome if it was Taserface and then we had like a Ravager raid tech team. That'd be fantastic. I would love that. But I did want to bring this up just because it's a new team. It's war. Very good war investment if you do want to use them for offense. I will say, if you do want to take them in the tech, they do very well in Doom 2.0. I haven't tested them in higher difficulties. But also, I want to talk about Ravager, Stitcher, and T'Challa most importantly, because, I was talking about I have a video the other day talking about DD5 planning and who I want to take in. And some people were really chirping about Stitcher. And I did convince someone in my alliance to take him up to tier 16 just for the fun of it. He is an incredibly cheap option to take up to tier 16 if you want to do it. And he will get you use in the tech raids, and he gets you use in war. So just saying it, just putting it out there. I don't recommend you do it, but if you do it, just know it's a relatively cheap option. You will get some mileage out of him. Same with Star-Lord T'Challa, another relatively cheap option to take up to tier 16. About 1,500 SBCs in total. 3 teal gear pieces on him. Stitcher only has 2, so they're both relatively cheap, both tech. Not a lot of good tech options for Dark Dimension, but also going to be a good option for the tech raid as well. Boomer, not so much. Bruiser's a bio character. Yondu is Mystic. I would not worry about those. But yeah, just saying, if you do want to take them up to DD5, they're cheap, but there's probably going to be better options over these two characters. T'Challa, I think, is going to be a much better option. Stitcher will have some nice synergy with T'Challa, but if you want to do it, by all means, go ahead. But I don't recommend doing it just yet, at least for Stitcher. Anyways, let's talk about Web Warriors, the other one. Oh man, can you imagine, like, if I made this video 2 months ago talking about taking Ravagers into DD5, the sheer vitriol that video would get. I made like a 30-minute video talking about Ravagers, ISOs, and T4s, and I can't believe I made that video either. Web Warriors, the other new team, best bio raid team. They outpace symbiotes. If you are a newer player or you're looking to progress in raids, this is your best option by far. If you're pushing progression in Doom 2.2 or above, again, best raid team. Very good. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of these guys. These are brand spanking new. It's going to be a long time before they are power crept. Symbiotes, we had them for a good year or two. Even then, they struggled in Doom 1.1, and they were okay in Doom 2. They just felt kind of weak. So instead of buffing symbiotes, like some of us were hoping for, we got a brand new raid team, reworks to Spider-Man Miles and regular Spider-Man. 3 new characters in Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and Spider-Punk. We've talked plenty of them about them with their T4s and ISOs. Very, very good in raids. Not so good outside of raids. They'll get you some use in blitz. They are okay on defense in war. Not a good war offense team. They're just way too reliant on certain mechanics. And yeah, they're way too reliant on raid mechanics in general. A lot of their buffs and abilities have raid specific stuff to them that really makes them suffer outside of raids. So if you're looking for something that's going to get you a lot of mileage outside of raids, probably skip this one. Maybe symbiotes. Actually, symbiotes would probably be better if you're looking for an all-around purpose or all-purpose bio raid team. It's just Web Warriors are much, much better in the raids. And raids by far are the most important game mode. They're the best way to get your gear right now. You won't get power cores, that's through arena, but your gear orbs, most of them are going to be coming through raids. So you got to make sure you get your raid teams up. If you have a symbiote raid team like this, like I have, tier 15 for the most part, a lot of blue ISO, and you're only like Doom 2.0 or 2.1, you can sit back on your symbiote, or you can sit back on Web Warriors. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking up to tier 12 and level 75 just to see what they do in Doom 2.0, but for now, my symbiotes are more than enough in Doom 2. I don't really need to worry about my Web Warriors. Again, if you're newer or mid-game player, Web Warriors is much, much better in long-term investment. And if you're pushing high progression on Doom, well, you're gonna want your Web Warriors. But otherwise, symbiotes, I'd say, are pretty much better all around. They're solid in war. Not solid, but they've got stuff that really helps them with like minion summons, and Asgardians is a really good one. There's still a lot of Asgardian teams on defense. So symbiotes in general just kind of seem to be a little bit better, but because raids are so important, Web Warriors are so much better investing in Wise versus your symbiotes. Moving on from there, yeah, I mean, most of it, we're going to stick with raids. Really, it hasn't changed much from my last video. Still, for skill, I can't even find the skill tab on here. There it is. Skill, your best option is still going to be your 3 Secret Avengers, Sam, Maria, and Sharon Carter. Add in Kestrel in that 4th spot. And then for me, I'm swapping between 3 different characters for my nodes. That first node, I'm using Moondragon because of her healing, her defense down. That second node, I'm using Baron Zemo because there's ability block. He moves before that enemy Silver Surfer, gets ability block on him, and he can start kind of, gain speed down some characters, can put Disrupt on that shield security up front, which is very, very important because then he can't taunt. Then you have to focus down shield security and focus on Surfer and other characters. Zemo's really good for that second node, and then I'm using Shang-Chi in that boss node. His ultimate just hits hard and just shreds the enemy team. And in terms of these characters, the Secret Avengers, Sam, Sharon, and Maria, all really good Dark Dimension options. Kestrel, also very good for Dark Dimension. In terms of the other characters, Shang-Chi, I'm using him from City. I've almost got him up to tier 16. I really think he's going to be pretty good in your Dark Dimension City nodes. Baron Zemo, you can skip. Moondragon, you can definitely skip. There's better options for Global and Cosmic for their nodes. I wouldn't worry about them for Dark Dimension too much. Now, I should also go back to Web Warriors here and talk about it. In general, these look like some pretty good options for DD5. I think most people are leaning towards using them for DD5. It's going to be a while for me. I've got low stars on them. I'm not really wailing out on these characters too much. I bought some offers just to get them up some stars and just see their viability. But if you are pushing Web Warriors, they're probably going to be your best option for the city nodes for a while. Just a lot of good synergy there. I am working on my symbiote Spider-Man just because I've got him up to tier 15. I'm slowly gearing him up to tier 16. Slowly gearing him up, and we'll use him there. But yeah, skill, not too bad. Mutants also has not changed. Astonishing X-Men, you already know this by now. Astonishing X-Men, like, they are your mutant raid team. Very, very good. The weakest option here is Kitty Pryde. I've swapped out Omega Red in place of Kitty Pryde at times for that boss node. Otherwise, Omega Red just doesn't really work too well. There's too many dupes and summons that you're killing, and the Astonishing X-Men just gains so much speed bar. Omega Red just basically sits there and doesn't move. So outside the boss node, there's no real need to bring in Omega Red. Even if you don't bring in Omega, you can still two-shot that mutant boss node. It's no problem. You wipe out a lot of the enemies before Doom uses his ultimate on his second turn. You summon in that second wave, and then you stun a bunch of characters, finish off Doom. I've done a video guide on it if you want to check that out, but yeah, this is a pretty solid Mutant raid team. I don't see this changing anytime soon. And in terms of Mystic, this is something I talked about last time. New Warriors, and then the Eternals, Cersei and Icarus. They are your arena meta. Very, very good, but also incredible in war. They can do, just these two characters can do serious 400, 500k punch-ups on enemy teams. They are just that deadly. You use them in arena. They are the arena meta. They have replaced Infinity Watch as the arena meta. But then also in Mystic, use the two Eternals and then bring in Cloak and Dagger and Deathpool, your new warriors. Those 5 will auto Mystic on Doom 2.0 difficulty. Not really a problem. I've done it. It's not difficult at all. You press auto. You may have to manage some cooldowns on the end of the second boss or on the second node, but pretty much autos it, and there's really nothing. It's nothing to it. It's incredibly easy. Now, other characters to invest in here, like if you don't have the Eternals and you do have new warriors, Doom, Adam Warlock, and Silver Surfer are all really good options. I know people have tried using Ebony Maw and Thanos in the Doom 2 raids as well. They do okay in Doom 1, but in Doom 2, especially with the taunt on Thanos, he really takes a beating. He can fall off pretty easily. He can die. He has really good health, but not a lot of armor, so he's easy to get picked on. I do not recommend him or Ebony for Doom 2. You do have better options, much better options. New Warriors, figure out some other characters here to invest in. But then also, Dark Dimension. I mean, we're going to talk about Dark Dimension here real quick. Icarus, you see I'm already here at tier 16. Cersei is my next Mystic tier 16. Then Doom is another good option. I've got to finish off a couple of Mystic pieces on him. And those are 2 cosmic characters in Eternals. It's a global character in Doom. And then Cloak and Dagger, I'm going to use them for DD5 as well. They're both Mystic. That's going to basically use up all of my Mystic gear for a while. Those are going to be my other 2 DD5 options. And then Deathpool is cosmic, but I'm not really worried about her for DD5. Cloak and Dagger are both city characters. I'm probably going to use them with Symbiote, Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, and then bring in one of the Web Warriors, I guess. I don't know. I'll figure out something there. But those are my options right now for Mystic. So we've talked skill. We've talked Mystic. Now, we brought up tech already with the Ravagers, like T'Challa and Ravager Stitcher. Both are decent options. Doom and Kestrel will double dip on tech. Doom we use with the Mystic nodes. Kestrel we use with skill. Some other good options here. Doc Ock and Lady Deathstrike are both pretty solid. Lady Deathstrike is very nice to have with the turn meter removal or speed bar removal, especially in Node 2 against that Captain Sam. Boomer I have had success as well with in the tech raid nodes. Doc Ock is just generally very good. You're going to use him in DD5 Legendary most likely. But then another option I've seen people use is Shuri. My Shuri is very weak, so I haven't really invested a lot in her, but she is, I can see why she's good there. If they do give the Wakanda tag to Star-Lord T'Challa at some point, the synergy between Shuri and T'Challa is going to be insane, and that's going to be a very strong tech duo. Yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well. But yeah, Shuri is a good one. Ghost is pretty solid as well. Skirmisher with her and her counters. I've seen people use Minerva as well. The problem is tech nodes have a lot of heal block on them. So Minerva is greatly diminished in her ability to heal from time to time. But really, like Doom, Kestrel, Doc, and then use a revolving door in those other three spots, or other 2 spots. Nebula and Ghost, Shuri, Minerva, Misty. I've seen people use Misty as well. Her ability block's very helpful for beating Doom in that boss spot. Yeah, there's some decent options, but none of them are. The tech nodes suck, and we don't have a tech raid team, so it's really investing in some of these characters until we get a tech raid team. I'm hoping we get them here soon. We got a teaser for Apocalypse earlier this week, so tech raid teams are probably still a month or 2 out at least until we get them. Hopefully we get them soon, but man, Scopely's really dragging their feet. So that's it for our raid teams. Let's talk. I mean, we've already basically talked about Arena. We don't need to worry about Arena too much. Arena is really about the Eternals, and then using a combination of other characters. There's a lot of different characters here. Zemo, Emma, Doom, Cable, or just your straight Infinity Watch. But really, it's going to come down to what you're facing a lot in your arena. And we could do a video about how to solve the arena meta, like what to use against each team, just to talk about it. But really Eternals, and then figure out what speed characters they have on the enemy team. Like, for instance, this one has Emma, Doom, and Zemo. You basically swap out Doom, you bring in Cable, and this will easily counter this. And this is pretty much mostly what I'm seeing here. And eventually you're going to see teams like your 2 Eternals, your with Cable, Emma, and Loki, and you just use straight Infinity Watch. It's really a rock, paper, scissors. There's Eternals, and then just figure out what you got to use for the other 2 characters to beat Arena. In terms of War, the best teams to invest in for War right now, number 1 is going to be Weapon X. This is your Metal War team. Destroys Heroes for Hire, no problem. Heroes for Hire are no longer an team you should be investing in, really. The sun's setting on them. It's time to move on. If you are still taking up to like tier 12, yeah, they're fine, but they're ones that you should really be cutting back on your investing in, because Weapon X was the first really hard counter to them. We'll be seeing more counters to them in the future. Eternals are a pretty solid counter to them as well. If you bring in like Cable, Zemo, and Emma, funnily enough, that can counter your Heroes for Hire like a 50k punch down. So Heroes for Hire, defensive teams are usually your worst ones to invest in. Don't go crazy on defensive teams unless you can go all out on them straight up at the beginning, because over time that investment really loses its value. Offensive teams are much better, in my opinion, to invest in. Weapon X, Omega Red is a great DD5 character. Sabretooth is relatively cheap for DD5, so is Wolverine. Wolverine, I believe, needs 3 teal pieces. Sabretooth needs 2. Lady Deathstrike is a decent global character if you want to take her in DD5 as well, but don't worry about Silver Samurai in DD5. Really shouldn't mess with him there. But this is your best war team. Eternals, also a really, really good war team. Good for offense or defense. Really, your raid teams are double dipping in terms of war. Except for Web Warriors, most of your raid teams are getting a lot of mileage in war too. There's really not much else to talk about there. I mean, Infinity Watch, yeah, Infinity Watch is still a good one to invest in. If you're a newer player, Infinity Watch looks like a pretty decent team for you to get at the beginning as well, except for Adam Warlock. He's a legendary. Moondragon is not farmable yet, but Nebula, Phyla-Vela, and Gamora are all early game farms. Those 3 will get you into cosmic nodes, which gets you a lot of easy farming up front, like Moon Knight, Polaris. Polaris is an X-Factor character, which is also used for a legendary. So, yeah, Infinity Watch is going to be an easy team to invest in that's going to get you going early on, and also give you some solid war viability. War is by far the least important mode to talk about. So there's really not a lot to talk about there. Plus, most of the teams we've already talked about are some of your better war teams anyways. But this is pretty much the best teams to invest in. Web Warriors for raid or symbiotes, depending on where you are in progression. Secret Avengers, New Warriors, Astonishing X-Men. Weapon X is really good for DD5 and for your war offense. And then Astonishing X-Men for the mutant raid nodes. And then Ravagers, to an extent, they're solid tech raid options, solid war team as well, and also potentially very good in DD5. So we'll see how this all pans out in another couple of months once we get new characters. Hopefully we get the announcement of Apocalypse and the 4 Horsemen here soon. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to drop them down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.